At family dinners, she corrected everything he said. She controlled the money, chose his friends, checked his phone, and even decided what clothes he wore. Whenever someone asked if he was okay, he'd simply smile and say, "Everything's fine." Then one night, 30 years after their wedding, my phone rang. David was crying. He confessed that he felt trapped. He said he'd spent decades believing he deserved to be treated that way. Every mistake was blamed on him. Every dream he had was mocked until he stopped dreaming altogether. He didn't want revenge. He just wanted one day to remember what it felt like to be himself. That's when an old childhood idea came back to me. We switch. He laughed at first. Then he realized I was serious. The next morning, we exchanged clothes, watches, glasses, and even practiced each other's habits. Since almost no one had seen me in years, the plan was perfect. I walked into his house pretending to be David. Within minutes, I understood everything. His wife criticized how I closed the front door. She complained about the groceries. She questioned where I'd been for 15 minutes. Nothing I did was ever good enough. But unlike my brother, I didn't stay silent. When she demanded I apologize for something that wasn't my fault, I calmly replied. The phone rang at 17 a.m. I almost ignored it. But when I answered, I heard my twin brother crying harder than I'd ever heard in my life. His voice shook as he whispered, "I can't do this anymore." What he revealed next exposed 30 years of emotional control, manipulation, and fear. That's when I made a decision that changed everything. Because we were identical twins, and for one weekend, nobody would know we'd switch places. My name is Daniel, and my twin brother David has looked exactly like me since the day we were born. As children, we used to switch places in school just for laughs. No one could tell us apart, not even our teachers. But life took us in different directions. I moved across the country, started a business, and built a peaceful life. David married his college sweetheart. At first, everyone thought she was kind and caring. But over the years, something changed. Every time I visited, David smiled less. He stopped laughing. He stopped making his own decisions. He always looked at his wife before answering even the simplest question. No. She froze. When she insulted me during dinner, I quietly stood up, cleared my own plate, and walked away. She followed me, shocked that I wasn't reacting the way she expected. The next morning, she handed me a long list of chores. I smiled. I'll help because I choose to, not because I'm afraid. Her expression changed. For the first time in decades, her usual tactics weren't working. Without fear, her control had no power. Over the next 2 days, I politely refused insults, calmly set boundaries, and treated myself with respect. She became confused, then frustrated, then strangely quiet. Meanwhile, David stayed with my family, laughing, sleeping peacefully, and remembering what life felt like without constant criticism. On Sunday evening, we switched back. Before leaving, I looked at her and said, "Your husband deserves kindness, not control. Whether your marriage survives depends on what happens next." Then I walked away. Months later, David called again. This time, he wasn't crying. He told me he'd started therapy. He'd opened his own bank account. He was making decisions for himself again.